This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. China's crude oil imports from Russia in August surged 28% from a year earlier, official data showed on Tuesday, but it handed back its top supplier ranking to Saudi Arabia for the first time in 4 months. Imports of Russian oil, including supplies pumped via the East Siberia Pacific Ocean pipeline and seaborne shipments from Russia's European and Far Eastern ports, totaled 8.342 million tons, data from the Chinese General Administration of Customs showed. The August amount, equivalent to 1.96 million barrels per day, BPD, was slightly off May's record of nearly 2 million barrels of oil per day. China is Russia's largest oil buyer.
German utilities RWE and Uniper are close to striking long-term deals to buy liquefied natural gas, LNG, from Qatar's North Field expansion project to help replace Russian gas, 3 sources familiar with the matter said. Talks between Germany and Qatar have been fraught with differences over key conditions such as the length of contracts and pricing, but the industry sources, who declined to be named, said the parties were expected to reach a compromise soon. Europe's biggest economy aims to replace all Russian energy imports by as soon as mid-2024, a Herculean effort for a country that mainly relies on natural gas to power its industry.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Brazil's ethanol exports to Europe are set to reach a record high this year, as foreign markets look more appealing than domestic, according to an analysis by S&P Global Commodity Insights. This year through August, Brazil shipped about 427 million liters of ethanol to Europe, 435% above the figures from the same period in 2021. By the end of 2022, the South American country is expected to export 600 million liters of the biofuel to Europe, said S&P. Brazil's previous record was set in 2010, when it exported 477 million liters to the continent.
U.S. crude oil prices will average between $80 and $100 per barrel next year, investors attending a Barclays conference this month estimated, suggesting a stronger outlook than future prices suggest. Oil futures for October traded at $85 a barrel on Monday, with the outlook for 2023 at about $79 a barrel. Prices had traded over $100 a barrel earlier this year on Russia's invasion of Ukraine and subsequent sanctions. Oil has cooled on concerns of an economic slowdown. Separately, the Bank of America today boosted its 2023 U.S. oil price forecast by $4 to $94 a barrel, pointing to what it called a modest but demonstrable production cut at the last OPEC Plus meeting.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Shrinking copper demand in Europe due to a manufacturing recession caused by the energy crisis will dominate market sentiment for some time, with prices likely to retreat towards 2-year lows early next year. Copper prices typically react to the ebb and flow of demand in China, which accounts for half of global consumption, estimated at around 25 million tons this year. But this time the focus is on Europe, accounting for 15%–20% of global demand for copper used in power and construction. The region is facing surging gas and power prices after energy supply cuts, which Russia blames on Western sanctions over the Ukraine conflict. The European Union has made proposals to impose mandatory targets on member countries to cut power consumption.
Global primary aluminium output in August rose 3.49% year-on-year to 5.888 million tons. Data from the International Aluminium Institute, IAI, showed on Tuesday. Estimated Chinese production was 3.5 million tons in August, the IAI said. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. China's soybean imports from Brazil plunged in August from a year ago, customs data showed on Tuesday, as high prices capped purchases of the oilseed from the South American nation. Imports from smaller suppliers such as Uruguay and the United States both increased, however. China, the world's biggest soybean buyer, imported 6.25 million tons of the oilseed from Brazil in August, down from 9.04 million tons a year earlier, data from the General Administration of Customs showed.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.